What's up, you guys? It's Sir Scrub here, bringing you some more Scrub Tier Yu-Gi-Oh! And in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at my ban list predictions for the July 1st ban list. But before we get into today's video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Tell me how wrong I am. Make sure that I know exactly how wrong that I am. And be sure to check out the description with all the different ways that you can support the channel. And be sure to head on over to the Coalition of Scrubs and give a subscribe to that channel and all of my friends that I'm working with over there. I know I've been putting a lot of energy into it and not as much energy into my personal channel. There's just a whole lot of moving parts going on over there. But I'm bringing you guys this video so y'all don't think that I've forgotten about you. So, with all that junk out of the way, let's go ahead and jump both feet into today's video. So we're going to start off with our banned cards, and I'm going to go ahead and get the big ones out of the way. The first card I have that I want to see banned on the next ban list is Block Dragon. I feel like everybody's kind of feeling like this card's going to get hit. I know that right now we're in a really weird spot because we're not even sure if Konami's going to give us a ban list because of everything that's going on with COVID-19 and stuff like that. But this is obviously going to be assuming we are getting it. This is what I think is the most likely / wish list things that can happen. I actually don't have a whole lot of hits on here just because there's not really a whole lot in the format that really needs to be hit. But everybody can most certainly say that Block Dragon definitely needs to be hit. This card just allows you to go +2 by itself. You set it up just by doing your normal wombo combos and that Emancipator. This card is really just insane. Anything that lets you search 3 cards from the deck is just ridiculous. It's absolutely absurd. Then we have Jet Synchron as my next ban card. I know a lot of different decks are abusing this card, and this is probably the target on most everybody's mind because we just know that they're not going to hit any of the new Link monsters. Provided the ban list drops on the 1st for us here in America, we won't even have got Eternity Code yet to get Link Cross banned. Nonetheless, Auroradon or Needle Fiber, so Jet Synchron is the most realistic thing that they're probably going to do. And then my final banned card I have S0 Utopic Zexal. I've been playtesting. For those of you who haven't seen the Coalition live streams, I've been playtesting the Numeron engine quite a lot, in specifically the Subterror Guru Control deck. And I'm just going to say that S0 has to get banned before the Numeron cards come out, because otherwise it's going to make Guru a top tier meta contender. Just the fact that S0 lets you skip your opponent's first 3 turns, and because you're playing it in Guru Control, Guru can actually search the Fiendus to be able to prevent the Impermanence or the Forbidden Chalice from being able to protect your... basically to stop the Impermanence that your opponent may have to protect themselves from the S0. Now, I will say that once Forbidden Droplets comes out, this combo gets a lot, or this deck with the S0 combo gets a lot less strong, because they can use Forbidden Droplets and discard a monster, so you can't respond to it with a Fiendus. So they may let this card stay in the format just because of that, but I don't feel like that's a reason to let S0 live without being banned. But that's it for my banned cards, just 3 banned cards. Like I said, there's not really a whole lot in this format that you can say this card needs to be hit, that card needs to be hit, so on and so forth. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move into our limited cards. So my limited list is pretty weird. So I'm going to start at the cards that are most likely to come off the list and least likely to give me hate, and I'm going to move into the cards that you guys are probably going to roast me for in the comments section. But you know what? That's what we live for here at Scrub Tier Yu-Gi-Oh! So at the top of the list, we have Blaster, Dragon, Ruler of Infernos. I feel like everybody understands that Blaster is not as broken by itself as it used to be. I mean, yeah, sure, people can play it in like Salamangrates or Infernoids, I guess, but outside of that, it's not really being splashed into a whole lot. And Dragon decks in general could just use the boost, as odd as that is to say, because they're just not doing much in terms of the meta these days. So, for those reasons, I feel like Blaster is really not as bad as it used to be, and I feel like it could come back off to 1 next to Tempest. It's certainly the least broken of the 3 remaining banned Dragon Rulers. So yeah, on to my next card coming back off the list. I don't actually have any new hits moving from here on out. It's just cards that I feel like could come off the list in certain ways or forms, and the next one being Ding Long, First of the Yang Zing. I feel like this card. Well, firstly, you have to be careful. Any synchro tuner in a format where needle fiber is legal, or excuse me, Halcofibrax is legal, you have some risk of being abused. But at the same time, I don't feel like this card is going to be as oppressive as it was in the past. I feel like Dinglong, sure, some dinosaur variants could take advantage of it, maybe some rogue decks, but I really don't see it being that big of a problem as it used to be in times past. Now, a card that has been a problem in times past, but I feel like was not a fair hit and should come back, is actually going to be Heavy Metal Foes Electromite. I feel like this card was perfectly fine at one copy, even with Selene. I don't feel like Pendulums would be taken over the top by having both Selene and Electromite. Yeah, they're a good rogue deck, but like in terms of the meta, they lose to too many side deck cards. As long as you know how to play against Pendulums, you're really not gonna get walloped by them. But yeah, there's always a chance of bricking. We're not gonna get into that discussion here today. I feel like that Pendulums would not be an insanely over the top deck if both of those cards existed in the format. And I feel like Electromite could come back because I feel like it does more to punish Rogue than like to punish a meta contender. And then the final card that I have coming back to one from ban status. You guys are gonna look at me like I'm crazy on this one. But I would actually kind of like to see Pot of Greed come back to one on the next ban list. Just because it's a pure +1. It can be played in any deck, so it's a boost to rogue decks and meta decks alike. But we also live in a day and age where simply getting a +1 is not the be-all end-all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Because so many cards generate free card advantage these days. This would just be like another Ash Blossom bait. Basically, it's one of those things at one copy per deck. If you see it, you see it. If you don't, you don't, really. It's kind of like Sekka's Light, but from everything. And I feel like that it just wouldn't be that big of a deal at one copy. Now, at multiple copies, absolutely, Pot of Greed would be ridiculously disgusting. But as a one-of, yes, it would still see play in every deck because it's literally free card advantage. But is it really that bad? is my point. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has gotten to the point to where a +1 is not what it used to be. A +1 doesn't mean that you've taken complete advantage of the game. Playing into a board from a -1 economy standpoint is not that big a deal. So I don't think Pot of Greed is the broken be-all end-all card that we have this mental perception of as Yu-Gi-Oh! Players. But that's actually it for my limited list. I don't really have a whole lot that I feel like could be done to rebalance this format. I feel like that where we're at as far as the Secret Slayers meta is concerned with the banned cards, I feel like that there's not really a whole lot much else you can do. So yeah, this is going to be a really small list. But yeah, that's all for the limited cards. So now let's go ahead and move on to our semi-limited cards. Now I only have one semi-limited card on here that I feel can go from 1 to 2, and that's going to be Graf Malebranche of the Burning Abyss. I feel like Burning Abyss players just need to get a bone throw at them. Just one extra copy of Graf just to make their plays a little bit stronger, because realistically, in terms of Burning Abyss being represented, the most we're seeing out of it is like 3-axis Burning Abyss, and even that's kind of like rogue. It's not really like a serious meta contender, and I feel like just because it doesn't really have a place in the meta, sure, go ahead, throw them a bone. There's a couple of other cards that are kind of iffy that could come back, but I feel like this Graf is the only one that I can say with any real solidity behind it that I feel would be okay coming back to multiple copies. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move on to my Freedom list. Again, I only have one card on here just because this format's really, really balanced. There's not a whole lot that I could say on the list that should come back or even needs to come back. But one card that I definitely feel needs to go back to 3 copies is Pantheism of the Monarchs. I feel like Pantheism has served its time. I feel like Monarchs have served their time. I mean, the deck is just, it's not good anymore. Yeah, the domain lot exists, but we're talking about a format where Mystic Mine is legal at 3. and we're worried about the domain lock. And also there's the Buster Whelp lock that isn't even seeing like a whole lot of top cut meta play, because back row removal is something that we've already been kind of playing. And especially with a deck like Eldritch running around in the meta that is a heavy back row deck, you know, back row hate is all over the place, and so I don't feel like Monarchs would be overly oppressive even with Pantheism at 3. I feel like that they would be a decent rogue deck at best because they do have good anti-meta properties. I just feel like the deck is too slow, it doesn't generate enough card advantage, and it's too easily interrupted, even with 3 Pantheism, to really be a breakout meta deck. But you guys, that's all I've got for this video. If you did enjoy this video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. And if you do want to see more videos from me, please be sure to check out the description with all the different ways you can support the channel, and head on over to the Coalition of Scrubs. Check out my second channel and all my friends that I hang out with over there. Be sure to give it a subscribe and check their channels out as well. But most importantly, don't forget, be a scrub. Peace.